Okay, all right, guys. New episode of Reacts, and now we're gonna react to a content creator called MEGABUILDS. It had great videos. I've watched some, and now we're gonna watch one. Um, this one, hold on, where is it? Here we go. This city has the worst traffic in the world. We're gonna watch this one, and let's see what they have done, what they have, you know, posted. Let's see. Let's see.
Manila has a major problem.
True.
It has some of the worst traffic in the world. Every day, millions of Filipinos spend.
Can you imagine going? This was years back. Can you imagine traveling for a total of 5 kilometers or two to 3 miles, and then it will take you 2 hours just to get to that. It takes 2 hours to travel 5 kilometers. Insane work, by the way. Yeah, that's what I experienced years back, and it's not even on the main road of one of the busiest cities, but it's a road like two maybe 2 to 4 lane road that is insane. How much congestion, how much driver it has. It has gotten to a point recently that this year only it had like I think more than 3 to 4 times that I saw that. It's insane that you got stuck in traffic, whether you're in a commute, whether you're a driver, or whether you're walking. Walking, by the way, walking. Do you know how insane it looks?
To walk and get stuck.
That's how insane that road had become. And I'm not gonna drop which road it is, but yo, insane.
Hours stuck on the road, just trying to get around.
Yeah.
But
true.
that could soon change. A massive multi-billion-dollar railway project that's set to completely transform the everyday commute of
Wait, what?
multi-billion-dollar railway project that's set to completely.
Yeah, this plan is hard because I've collected some information about this railroad system that has been trying to be built for years on end, maybe decades, I don't know. But there are issues, especially along. Do you see this one, the red one from Malolos to Blumentritt? There are certain issues, especially on the land, and I mean the land ownership that uh on the places that they want to build the railroads, and the what is that, the structures around, yeah, the structures around those railroad tracks that there's planned to be built. There are certain issues that um it's taking so long to, I don't know, to be managed or to have an agreement or to deal with, that some of some of the railroad tracks is getting rusty, or it takes years before it it is completed, which is insane, by the way.
transform the everyday commute of millions of Filipinos. Once built, it could single-handedly solve the country's biggest and longest-standing problem of traffic congestion. But
But the main reason is that, I think the main reason of traffic congestion is that the roads cannot handle that much drivers, that much vehicles. It has so many cars and motorcycles on the road that they are eating, that they are devouring which lane works, or which lane is faster to to travel on. And the driving condition around this country is insane, especially on the Manila side.
why is it only being built now? And could this one single project really make the difference? Hey, I'm
Let's
Luis,
hope.
and today we'll be taking a look at the mega project that could finally save Manila. Let's first clear up some confusing terms right off the bat. This is the city of Manila, and this is Metro Manila, the national capital region of the Philippines. And finally, this is the Greater Manila area. These three areas are all sometimes used as Manila, and they're even used interchangeably. But for the purpose of this video and keeping things simple, whenever we mention Manila, this is the one we're talking about. Alright, now that that's out of the way, let's start. Manila is known for many things, from its colorful jeepneys and bustling streets to a colonial past that lingers in its architecture. But if this place is known for one thing above all of these combined, it's the traffic. Traffic in Manila is a daily nightmare. And we're not even exaggerating here.
The traffic in Manila is completely insane.
In fact, back in 2023, it had the single worst traffic of any metro area in the entire world. A short 10-kilometer commute in the city would take you an average of 25 minutes to complete. To put things into perspective, a city like Los Angeles, for example, which is also notorious for its traffic jams, averages out at just 16 minutes for the same trip. And unfortunately, for millions of Filipino commuters, the situation has been like this for many decades now. But how exactly did Manila's traffic get to this point? And why is this place so unbelievably congested in the first place? First of all, Manila is incredibly dense. Almost a quarter of the entire Philippine population all live in this small area. Every single day, millions upon millions of trips are made across this vast urban jungle. Now, imagine all that movement happening in a region that was never really designed to handle all these people in the first place. But probably the most critical reason of all is a clear and obvious lack of affordable, convenient and efficient public transportation. Of course, there are buses and jeepneys, but while they're cheap and relatively easy to come by, they're not exactly the most reliable way to get around. They can be very confusing, as they often stop wherever and whenever they want. And when it comes to rail, well, there are actually a handful of metro lines serving the area. But most of them are decades old, prone to breakdowns and are completely overwhelmed during rush hour. Riding any of these metro lines during peak hours is a challenge of its own. And with the Philippines' sweltering heat, that experience is definitely far from comfortable. So what ends up happening? Well, people who can afford it buy motorcycles or cars. But there's a problem. These vehicles only carry around 30% of all the actual trips, while taking up 80% of the space.
That's insane, by the way.
30% of all the actual trips, while taking up...
If you double the private transport 30 to 60, it's insane that in that little transport, it takes up almost 80% of the road space. Insane. And I don't know when, how, or especially when will they implement this, but I think I would suggest that every city, every governing body that is involved in transportation should have meetings that will manage or solve transportation problems, mainly, especially when it comes to buying and using a private vehicle, because everyone should not have a license to drive, and not everyone should drive. That's all I'm saying.
80% of the space. And those who can't afford their own vehicles are stuck spending hours every single day in overcrowded trains, buses and jeepneys. It's an exhausting cycle. Too many cars, not enough space and very little incentive to use public transportation. Which now brings us to the North-South Commuter Railway, or the NSCR. A mega project that's designed to be the backbone of a completely new and modernized public transport system. It might seem like a brand new idea, but this project has actually been in the making for decades now. Its history is one that's filled with delays, cancellations and more than a few failed attempts. Back in the 1960s, the Philippines actually had a pretty extensive rail network that spanned almost the entire length of the main island of Luzon. However, by the next few decades, most of this infrastructure slowly started to crumble, mainly due to years of neglect. By the 1980s, the entirety of the line from Tutuban to San Fernando was no longer operational. But that didn't stop the government from trying to create a new system that would replace it. They tried many times. Twice in 1994, and yet again in 2006. But all these plans never really came to be, for various financial and logistical reasons. In 2013, against all odds, and despite multiple failed attempts, the government tried yet again. And this time, their plans were as ambitious as they'd ever been. With the help of the Japan International Cooperation Agency, a brand new master plan was drafted to completely reshape Manila and its transport infrastructure. The Metro Manila Dream Plan. Unlike the earlier attempts, this new plan was comprehensive. And it wasn't just about building one railway line either. It was about creating an entire transport system that's designed to finally solve Manila's traffic once and for all. At the heart of this dream plan is the North-South Commuter Railway, a 147-kilometer rail line that would stretch from New Clark City in Tarlac, pass through Manila, and end in Calamba Laguna. The idea behind this project was pretty simple. In fact, it's almost exactly the same as all the failed proposals that came before it. 1. Connect the developing economic zones of the North and the South. 2. Ease the congestion of the roads. And 3. Finally, provide millions of Filipino commuters an affordable, reliable, fast and convenient mass transportation system. The line will have a total of 36 stations, all going through major population and economic centers. The trains themselves will run on standard gauge tracks and will be fully electrified. It'll be faster, cleaner and much more reliable compared to the old diesel-powered trains used in the past. The system will have a top speed of 160 km per hour for the express trains, meaning that a trip from Clark to Calamba, something that currently takes around 4 to 5 hours by bus, will be reduced to just under 2 hours. But with the NSCR going through some of the most congested and densely populated areas, how exactly are they gonna build it? Well, much of the project's right-of-way is already in place. The line will follow the old PNR alignment that's been in place for decades. And for the most part, the tracks will be elevated, especially in congested urban areas. That allows for faster travel times and easier construction. In total, the entire project is estimated to cost over $15 billion.
That's a lot.
Construction on the project is currently being done in 3 phases. The first one is PNR Clark 1, which will run from Tutuban all the way to Malolos in Bulacan. As of June 2025, this section is more than 50% complete, with most stations and elevated tracks already laid down. PNR Clark 1 is expected to be the first to open to the public by early 2027. Up next is the PNR Clark 2, from Malolos to New Clark City and Tarlac, with a spur line that connects to the Clark International Airport. Both PNR Clark 1 and 2 are being built on top of the defunct North Main Line, as fully elevated tracks. And progress on this section is currently at 40%. Most of the construction here mainly revolves around building the viaducts on which the rails will actually be placed. And finally, we have the PNR Calamba, starting from Blumentritt Station to Calamba in the south. This one will have a combination of elevated, at-grade and tunnel sections. Construction on this southern segment is the least developed, with only 12% completed to date. Because this part of the NSCR will mostly pass through densely populated areas, which means working here takes more time and preparation compared to the other places. Altogether, these 3 phases will form a single, unified rail line, stretching a total of 147 kilometers long. The project is expected to be fully operational by 2031, and it's estimated that the whole system will be able to serve as many as 800,000 passengers every day. But it's not just about building tracks and stations. This project is meant to completely overhaul how mass transit is done in the Philippines. The NSCR is being built in a way that commuters could easily transfer between existing and future rail lines and transportation terminals. Now, I know, that sounds fairly standard for any efficient public transportation system, but for the Philippines, this is definitely the first of its kind. The NSCR will have seamless connections to the existing LRT lines 1 and 2, as well as the MRT 3. There will also be transfers to the currently under construction subway. Going even further, there are already talks of further extensions of the system, north to Tarlac City and south to the port of Batangas. If these expansions are pushed through, the NSCR could actually be the beginning of a truly national rail network. One that connects key economic zones across the island of Luzon, and maybe even beyond. In short, the NSCR is meant to be the backbone of Manila's future public transportation network. But of course, for a project this massive, not everything has gone smoothly.
Yeah.
As expected, there have been quite a few delays and challenges along the way. One of the biggest hurdles early on was clearing the right-of-way for construction. Although most of the NSCR will make use of the old PNR right-of-way, much of the old tracks had become home to informal settlers over the years. And
I have a suggestion about this. Why not relocate informal settlers to cities or places that in need of human that in needs of manpower? I think with the right amount of time, if the informal settlers can adapt to when wherever city they will be transferred to, if they can adapt and provide skill sets or provide work efforts that the city needs or demands, I think the country will be more balanced. You know, not just for informal settlers, but for those people or residents that cannot to those places that are too populated, that they can be transferred to places that in needs of population. That's a suggestion, but you know I don't know if any governing body can pick this up or can create a plan that had that idea of relocating certain amount of people from one place to another that will give way s- to to do works for national gain. For example, this one, transportation. You know, um, if they can identify, those people, identifying those people in these areas, not just informal settlers, but especially for those establishments or people that will be affected by a national project, governing body that can do that, implement that, or at least um, start that a little by little, especially in the local governing bodies or LGUs in this country. If they can do that, it will be a great dynamic, especially on the balance of um, workforces in the country and a great division of, um, for example, what a city needs of this type of work that's need to be done. For example, in the media industry, this place or this city needs this much workforce or this much talent, and oh, these people can provide such talent, or they can start, or they can lay a foundation, then go. They can be transported there. They can be managed by being provided with a place or where they can start. I don't know if this was I don't know if this is a great idea or brilliant idea, but I think it is, especially in the long run, so that um, the overpopulation of one location or one place can be redistributed to those in need, or especially those that wants more workforce. That's all I'm saying. But if there's any LGU or national governing body that sees this, not just in this country, in the Philippines, but anywhere else in the entire world, if they can do such harmonious plan, project, or system, that would be a great one. I think. Anyway,
relocating them is currently proving to be a huge logistical and social challenge for the government. There have also been concerns about how the project is being delayed.
yeah.
The original target for partial opening of the NSCR was 2022, but because of multiple delays, the deadline wasn't met. They now plan to partially open the north section by 2028 instead. After so many years of delays, false starts and failed promises, the North-South Commuter Railway is finally happening. Now it's just a matter of actually finishing the job and getting it right. But what do you think? Will this be the turning point for public transportation in the Philippines? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Credits to all those people, the narrator, video editing, all of them. What I think is, if this goes well, it will be a great. It will satisfy a lot of Filipinos, especially on the travel side, which a lot of Filipino people love to travel. and if they can travel so far with that will cost so little with the least hassle, it will be great for the country, you know, especially for those people that have issues with the transportation in the country or in the road life on the country like me. So yeah, if you like the video, guys, be sure to like, comment, anything you want to say or suggest, or any other videos I would like to react to, and then subscribe to this channel and to Megabuilds as well. um they have they did great on this video, and we will watch more on their videos. For now, this is Vansi reacts and Megabuilds. Salute. And I'll see you all guys in the next one. Salute.